Welcome back. Less than 20 minutes from now, you're going to be seeing the mega Jayalalitha Memorial being unveiled by Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy. Very important event because in the run-up to the Tamil Nadu elections, the AIADMK is trying hard to stake claim to Jayalalitha's legacy. Before I get in our panelists, I want to take this across to Pramod Madhav, who's reporting live from the Jaya Memorial. Pramod, in some time from now, the Chief Minister will be there. Huge crowds that are gathering. This is a show of strength by the EPS government, by the AIADMK. Tell us what's happening around you. A bit of a problem there with Pramod's connection. We'll go across to him in just a bit to give you a sense of the mood on the ground, because we're being told that there are thousands of AIADMK workers who are coming together for this particular event. I'd like to take this across also, again, reintroducing our guests. I've got A. Saravanan of the DMK with us, Mr. Muralidharan, AIADMK supporters joining us on this broadcast. We have Priyamvada, who's covered many such events in Tamil Nadu, and finally our executive editor, Shivarur, as well. Shiv, to you first. When we talk about what's really happening in Tamil Nadu and the fact that EPS is going ahead and inaugurating this memorial today, it comes amid a lot of infighting within the AIADMK, and perhaps this is an attempt by EPS to show that he's as much a mass leader, if we can call him that, as Jayalalitha was, as Dr. MGR was.
There is a lot of audacity that is taking place on the ground, since the deaths of Karunanidhi and Jayalalitha, and I'm sure Mr. Saravanan will agree with me on that. That everyone is looking at who is going to be the legacy owner of these people, as if to suggest that anyone can actually be as big a towering figure as any one of these people. Now, but in politics, we all know that voids are meant to be filled. Everyone wants to fill a void, and if you take the movie metaphor, there are 4 or 5 actors in what is playing out right now on the ground. There is EPS, obviously, because like Priyamvada rightly said, he's the guy who's taking ownership of this entire show of strength, as a tribute to Amma. Then you've got OPS, who is many a time the sulking other, a man who famously went to the MGR Samadhi and sat there in penance, when Sasikala was going to become the chief minister. Then you've got Sasikala herself, who's going to gain freedom. Then on the sidelines, a person you don't see very much, but everyone is waiting to see what his moves are going to be. You've got people like Dinakaran. At a smaller level, the support cast, are people like Deepa Jaikumar, who's not very serious and not very active in the political sphere. You only hear about her from time to time as a sort of emotive plane. But the question is very, Mr. Muralidharan, you're painting a very rosy picture about unity in the AIADMK, but I would agree with Priyamvada. It's not really like that. I mean, there are many things to be settled within the AIADMK as well. In fact, there is an ownership war within the AIADMK over who really, can be entrusted with the legacy of Amma between EPS and OPS, between these two camps.
Sure, I'll answer that with an analogy. That's for me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. When Virat Kohli had to return during this recent Australian tour, Ajinkya Rahane took over. And just like Priyamvada said, Mr. Edappadi was not a selected, chief minister. He was an acting chief minister, like, person whose supervisory role was given to him. What happened? Did Rahane surprise everybody? If you take a poll today, I'm telling you, people of India will say Rahane should lead India, because he's a much more calmer thinking captain than Virat Kohli. That's come out in light. Exactly the same way Mr. Edappadi today is rolling the roast. Simple example. Now, what is that ADMK, DMK and all these people are worried of? Because other than nepotism, what is there for DMK to talk about? Mr. Karunanidhi is gone, Mr. Stalin has come in, and he is like, not very great in health. He says, my son Udayanithi will take over. What's his qualification? He has acted few movies. Now, this is what DMK is talking about. Whereas you talk about ADMK, last 1 year, see the COVID performance. See the foreign direct investment which Mr. Edappadi has brought in. He is walking the talk and he is challenging these people. That's what is, rattling them.
No, all that is fine. Mr. Muralidharan, you're not answering, however, Shiv's question about whether there are differences within the AIADMK that need to be first resolved, and whether that will lead to an advantage for the likes of Sasikala.
No, I'm telling you, no. That's what I gave the Rahane, example. If you take a poll, people would want 60% of Indians want Rahane as captain. Similarly, in ADMK, and the people of Tamil Nadu will say we would go with Edappadi because he's not anti-Hindu. He doesn't go ranting around about Hinduism and Hindu practices in every stage, and he doesn't harm or demean any religion or caste. So these are the goodness of Mr. Edappadi, and he has upheld the law and order situation. I mean, post-Sterlite, he was criticized for, so badly. But take us a leaf out of what has happened in Delhi yesterday. What happened? Sterlite had to be controlled. It was a violence like this. And he did control Sterlite. Today, it's a peaceful place. Could you say that about Delhi? No. BJP should take a leaf out of Edappadi and learn how to control things.
No, you're not. Mr. Muralidharan, you've still not answered the question. Yes, you're saying people of Tamil Nadu want EPS. What we're talking about is the internal rift within the AIADMK, Mr. Muralidharan. The fact that OPS is trying to now try and get some power within the party, that is a concern. That you'll have cadre itself who are divided, and with someone like a Sashikala entering, who also is taking claim to Jayalalitha's legacy, it is a cause of concern. If the AIADMK doesn't recognize it, that by itself is a problem.
No, Sasikala is a convict. She's walking out of, the prison. She can't contest elections for a few years. And she might as well keep gracefully exit from the scenario, knowing that Edappadi is taken over. And if she doesn't do it, she will be, answered rightfully by the people and the cadres of ADMK. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't make any difference. The threat for ADMK today is DMK. And they're very close, in edging them out. And if it's going to be a election where BJP is not aligning with ADMK, I can tell you DMK will have to work very hard to bring down Edappadi.
Okay, Priyamoda, you wanted to make a quick point.
Absolutely. I want to ask Mr. Muralidharan only two questions. One, you're saying there is no rift between EPS and OPS, and why are the advertisements, the election campaign advertisements, have individual posters? It is not together always. One by OPS supporters, one by EPS supporters. And only in the last 10 days, they have appearing together in the public functions. But when the campaigning kicked off, both of them were not together. Number two, you just called Shashikala a convict. But then let's remember, if Madam Jayalalitha, with due respect to her, if she had been alive, she would also be serving the sentence. So let's not forget that. I think ADMK has that disadvantage, and that's probably the reason why, except for this memorial, in the last 1.5 years, it's always been about EPS, a farmer's son who's honestly come up and worked for the people rather than projecting Jayalalitha. She was probably projected only in the pictures and posters. Other than that, there was not much push for her policies or her projects or her dreams in the ADMK. I mean, if you could answer that.
Yeah, See, there are two people, two equally senior, Edappadi and Mr. OPS. Now, both of them need not be in the same place, same time. Why should they be? They can cover more ground if they go separate ways and campaign. So if the posters are come up with EPS and OPS, that's nothing. Don't read between the lines here. That party is like everything has been amicably settled. OPS himself has, recommended the name of EPS for the chief ministerial candidate, whereas the NDA did not. But the things are hunky-dory inside, probably these posters are pasted by, DMK.
This is very wishful thinking, Mr. Muralidharan, to claim all is well within the AIADMK. It's not just an open secret. Everyone knows that this is the case right now, that OPS is trying to push for more power within the party, that there are differences within the AIADMK. I want to take this across to Mr. Saravanan as well. When we talk about the DMK, and Mr. Saravanan, I'm sure the DMK is very happy that there's no legacy war that's playing out over Kalaigner's legacy, because very clearly Stalin was the heir apparent. However, the AIADMK have focused their attacks on the nepotism charge of the DMK. What basis really are we seeing Udayanidhi Stalin being propped up now?
See, same way SLV Jayalalitha was given the propaganda secretaryship when she joined ADMK. She was nowhere. She was in the films and she was given that post. So what's wrong in that? See, tell me, I'm asking you, any actor in the caliber of Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin, if they join a party, will the party say no? We have seen how many stars have joined the BJP. They've given tickets. They have been promoted. And here we have Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin, who is willing to talk about the Dravidian ideology. He has propagating the Dravidian ideology across the state. So what's wrong in that? And which party? And ADMK, for all the parties, ADMK should never talk about dynastic politics. They made Mrs. Janaki, wife of MGR, as the chief minister immediately after the death of Mr. MGR. And who is Sasikala to Jayalalitha, and how come she has wielding so much of power? Did she work for the welfare of the ADMK party? So let us not speak. I think this is a non-issue.
I'm seeing a trend here, Shiv. I'm seeing a trend that if I ask the AIADMK anything, their immediate answers about what's happening in the DMK and vice versa.
Which means nothing's actually changed, but that's only to be expected, because ultimately, that also kind of confirms the lack of any big unquestionable figures in Tamil Nadu politics anymore, because there is this mad scramble for legitimacy and legacies. And like you absolutely rightly pointed out, Akshita, in the DMK at least there is clarity on that. There is no dispute over who is the legacy owner as far as Kalaignar is concerned. But I had a question also for Priyamvada, because this is something that has occupied my mind ever since all of us. We were all there outside the Apollo Hospital when Jayalalitha passed away in December 2016, and it has always been a question in my mind, Priyamvada, as to who would Jayalalitha herself consider, the inheritor of her legacy. Would it be Shashikala, who she was very close to? Would it be OPS, who was a stand-in chief minister many times? Would it be EPS, who has in so many ways sort of taken over that political legacy right now as far as government power is concerned? Who would, I know it's a tough question, nobody can really answer it, but in your opinion, who, according to Amma, was the inheritor?
Shiv, as far as I know, Madam Jayalalitha, I have interacted with her at the official capacity and also to some extent, to very little extent, at a personal capacity. And if I understand the kind of persona or personality she was, she wouldn't have wanted anyone. She never had plans for the inheritor.
That's
she never had plans for anyone to take over after her, because as far as she was there, it was only her. And she was that kind of a personality. Of course, we all talk about Shashikala being extremely close to her. She did have a say. But end of the day, the way the things function inside Poyas Garden House, or I've known the family members, how they function. We know that TTV Dinakaran was kept away from Poyas Garden for almost 10 years. He was brought back only after Jayalalitha's death, and also a good chunk of Shashikala's family members were also kept away from the Poyas Garden. So the power was never distributed. There was no, anyone, if Jayalalitha saw someone who would rise up to her level or who could become as powerful as her, she would ensure they're cut short. And that's exactly how the ADMK was functioning. And I would say that is the bane of ADMK. The DMK never functioned like that. Of course, it's, Kalaignar had a family. He groomed Stalin, and not just Kalaignar, every minister groomed their children in DMK. Today, if you take every minister, be it Durai Murugan or be it Ponmudi, all of them have, or T.R. Balu, they have groomed their sons. It's like a family. I wouldn't say it's a family party, but that was Anna's rule, that DMK, everyone has to come together. The family members should be part of political activities, and that's exactly what DMK was following. But in ADMK, it was never that scene. We hardly saw even OPS's son, Ravindranath, coming out when Jayalalitha was alive, because she never liked that. It was only Jayalalitha. Even a press statement, Shiv, I know that even a press statement wouldn't go to the press, or it wouldn't go without Jayalalitha looking at it, and she would make that small changes. She would make the grammatical changes. So everything was controlled or probably even micromanaged by Jayalalitha, with Shashikala giving her help. And remember, not that Shashikala was also given power all the time. In 2011, she was thrown out of the Poyas Garden. So there have been times when Jayalalitha has made it clear that she's the boss. She never wanted anyone to take over. Even MGR was like that. MGR never wanted anyone to take over, but I would say Jayalalitha literally pushed her way through in to take over the party and take over when MGR was not well. So even MGR never wanted. It's also a matter of the fact that both of them didn't have a family of their own, and they both were very different politicians who dwelled in their own legacy, dwelled in their own pride and their own achievement.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.